Good afternoon and welcome to the webinar for ReSmart. My name's Tim Eisenhower. I work for On Market. We are the licensed investment platform that's helping ReSmart with their crowdsourced funding campaign. The agenda for today, let's run through it. We've got quite an extensive agenda, and I'm glad you've joined us in your lunch hour. I'm going to provide some details around ReSmart's campaign. I'm then going to introduce ReSmart's Managing Director, who will give a short overview of the presentation about the company and investment opportunity. We're then lucky enough to go live into ReSmart's Marrickville headquarters in Sydney, where we'll get a little bit tour of the facility there in relation to the recycling. We will be joined by Michael Cron, General Partner of Antler. Antler is one of ReSmart's first major investors. We'll have a quick discussion with Michael. Then we'll open up to you guys, and this is what we ask you to do: is just, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A tab below to ask the questions, and I'll attempt to get through them as much as I can in the time frame we've been given. We're looking to probably go for maybe 45 to an hour, depending what we have in terms of time frame. The webinar today will be recorded, so please note that, and you'll be able to access that after the event. So just in terms of ReSmart's campaign and their investment opportunity, they're looking to raise up to 2.5 million for the crowdsourced funding campaign. The campaign currently is in what we call the expression of interest phase. They've received sort of an overwhelming interest so far from potential investors wanting to buy their shares. Their offer will open to those that have expressed their interest next Tuesday. That's Tuesday, May 19. When it does open, for those that have expressed their interest, you will be first in line to access their investment offer document and to be able to buy shares in the company. The minimum investment parcel size will be $250. Please remember that under crowdsourced funding legislation, there is a limit on retail investors of $10,000. If you want to bid more than that, you will need to be a sophisticated investor. So really the call to action is, if you haven't expressed your interest, please do so. The benefit, obviously, as just explained, will be that you'll get early access to the offer. I wanted to now introduce you to the senior management team from ReSmart. We have Giorgio, the Managing Director, Marco, the CTO, Eugenie, Chief Investment Officer, and we'll introduce you to Tina and Rob in a moment for the factory tour. But to hand over to Giorgio, who's the Managing Director and CEO and co-founder, he's going to give us a 10-minute overview. Giorgio, welcome.
Thank you. ReSmart is what we like to call ourselves the Uber for reverse logistics. So basically, anything leaving your house, we can take care of it. Reverse logistics is a massive problem in Australia. We started working on this 15 years ago. We've been going on to different interactions, and we think we have a very strong solution for it. Just to size the problem, in terms of waste, councils need to recycle 80% of any waste you produce at home by 2030. We're at 60% right now. So there's a 20% gap missing, which is exactly what we target as a business. Most businesses in Australia now, they're facing end-of-life accountability for their own products. And households actually have a lot of items in their house they shouldn't have, and they should actually process in the right way. One item that is actually creating a lot of problems when disposed of into bins is actually batteries. You might have heard the news. There's a bunch of trucks burning because of batteries left in bins. They get squashed and they create fires. They're really dangerous and toxic, by the way. All right. So just to explain you what we do, right? So basically, you have a lot of items in your house you want to get rid of. You find us as a solution, usually promoted by your council or just online. You book the service as you would book an Uber, so extremely simple through an app or a website. You put all of these items into a single bag. We have our own. You can use yours. They are 60-liter large, so they're quite, kind of large shopping bags. And we use external drivers to come drive to your house, collect the bag, empty the bag in their own car, divide all the items, return the bag in front of your door, and take off to the next pickup. At the end of the route, they're going to dispose of all of these items into our warehouses. We have a network of warehouses and consolidation point in Sydney, in Australia, and that's where we dispose of and pack all the items. Just to give an idea of traction, it took us 4.5 years to get to 1 million kilogram collected of items. It took us only 1 year to get to 2 million. So we went from 4.5 to 1 year to achieve the same volume. So that's scale. That's actually traction, and it's speed of more people using the service and so on. Just to give an idea, at the moment we sit on a network of 3 main warehouses, because we just opened a third one this week, and 16 consolidation points across Australia in every single state, excluding NT, which is the only area where we don't have service yet. To give you an idea about numbers, so high-level financials, we do 4.5 in recurring revenue, so annualized revenue. We sit on 55% gross margins, which is basically once you take the drivers off, we still have 60% of margins, and then we have a 30% operating margin on top of it. That is high level what the margin we sit on. And let me go in terms of clients that we have. So we work with the largest Australian companies. We work with Qantas, we work with John Holland, and so on. And we collect from all of them a bunch of different items. So we work with consumers and we work with businesses as well, large businesses. I want to talk about stickiness. When people try or businesses try our service, they tend to stick around. 90% of the councils that use our service, they are still working with us after 7 years since we started ReSmart. 55% of the business keep using us on a regular basis, and we have almost 70% of retention on a consumer side. So sometimes the service is paid by the council, sometimes the user have to pay to access it. When users are paying, 70% of them keep doing it. This is changing habits, right? So it's a very powerful way to retain them. Once they start using us, they change the way they dispose of their own items and they stay with us. If you look at our niche, our segment, that is basically the hard to recycle items, we are the only business that today collects from 3 different channels. And if you look at the volumes and what we do, we pretty much own our own niche. We service every state in Australia, as I said before. We collect from every different type of client. And the volumes that we service now are way above 1 million, what everyone else is doing in our niche category. Of course, there's always the option to throw stuff in landfill, which is a different market. But if you want to recycle your item properly, we own probably the niche by probably above 80% of the volumes, if not 90, from our estimation. Scale compounds. The more councils work with us, the more areas we serve. At the moment, 161 different local government areas, councils. The more our brand gets out there, the more people use us. Stickiness keeps clients in, and all of these give us a lot of data. So when our drivers pick up something from a business or from a household, they record the location, the type of item, the weight, and so on. All of this data provide insights to our customers, specifically businesses and council, in what to do to tackle the waste issues. I just want to share a couple, again, as I said before, we have a network of now 3 warehouses. So we have large warehouse in Sydney, 1 in Queensland, and 1 in Tasmania. And we have a network of different consolidation points across the country. We are looking to open, thanks to Zitran, total 7, therefore other 4 locations, Perth, South Australia, ACT, and Victoria, in terms of large warehouses. To give you an idea, by not having a large warehouse, we are turning clients down. So large clients, such as the Iconic, needs a large warehouse to process their stuff because they have a truck full of soft plastics. Therefore, we need to have a baler somewhere. And in some states, we don't have the infrastructure yet. Therefore, we have clients that we have to turn down. That's one of the main reasons we're looking to raise money again, to be able to grab this opportunity. Next point, so what is the cherry on top of the cake here? Not only we actually collect waste, which is a $15 billion industry in Australia, but we've been asked by a major retailer, which we can't name yet because we didn't sign the contract, but a very large retailer that sells online apparel, to enable return to our service. So imagine a world where you basically you buy online a bunch of clothes, shoes, whatever it is, and you want to return some of them. Instead of going to Australia Post, put them in a satchel and post them back to the brand. You can put them together with a bunch of other things you don't want at home anymore in the same bag, and we'll take care of it. Cheaper for the business that is selling you the items, and more convenient for the user that is just chucking the stuff in front of their own. This industry just returning items, so the logistic around returning items to a brand is a $5 billion industry in Australia, 4.5 to 5. We can dig into the financials. Probably there will be a chance for every one of you to look deeply into our financial performance in the investment offer that will come out in the next few days. But to give you an idea, we are forecasting to achieve 10 times revenue based on today's performance in the next few years, based on the ability to grab the clients that at the moment we're turning down and to work with more councils. And on top, to start doing returns, which is an opportunity that we've been asked for. We actually were pitched by one of our large clients, which is a great thing. We actually believe that thanks to synergy and large scale, we can achieve higher net operating margin because of just having a better infrastructure that makes everything more efficient. Quick look into the team. You guys can Google us and you can see what we do, but we all come with some sort of specific background to the industry. I spent a long time in waste. Today, I'm actually at a conference in Coffs Harbour where it's a waste conference. I've been coming here for 15 years. Marco has a lot of experience in tech and building apps that talk to consumer, and Eugene used to run marketing for a very large brand in Australia. But we're happy to discuss that later if you guys want in the Q&A. Why we're raising money? Well, all of this can be summarized in 3 things. One, we want to open warehouses and better facilities everywhere in Australia, not to turn clients down, and to open in other areas we don't currently serve, such as large regional centers. I'm talking about Wollongong, Geelong, and so on, right? The second one is to enable AI across the business. We're already doing it. So we actually have 3 less, a smaller team compared to last year, but way more efficient. So by being able to plug more AI, we will grow without having to hire too many, without having a frenzy in hiring. We don't need to have a huge team to deliver that. And the third thing is actually to enable returns. So actually launch this new product, which is adjacent to waste, and is basically having a more compelling offer for our users. So just to summarize what we have very long-term contracts with B2B and B2C and councils especially. B2C, they're locked into subscription. Council is multi-year contracts. B2B is we have these packs which are 12 months long. So our revenue base, it's recurring for most of it. We fine-tune and we have a really good software that enable us to leverage drivers driving their own car, collecting for us. So no need to buy trucks and hire drivers. We have a national footprint already today, so every state. And we have these data insights that we believe in the future could become really powerful, not just in data, in client retention, but as well in monetizing eventually one day all these insights that we have about waste. We know a lot about what people throw away, and we know it with different verticals, and we believe that one day could be very helpful for other people. Last good news, we're launching next Monday in an area we've been asked for a long time to launch, which is Wollongong. It's a major regional area, so we're not stopping. As I said before, we have a new warehouse in Brisbane as of this Monday, and next Monday we're going to have a warehouse in Wollongong. So we're moving forward. We're a business that is breaking even now, and therefore we can keep growing. But of course, being able to raise money from you guys will allow us to grow even quicker and grab the opportunity nationwide. Thank you very much.
Well done, Giorgio. And thank you for the questions coming in. We have a number coming in so far. If you do have any questions for Giorgio and his team, it's an extensive team on the webinar, please enter them now. We'll get to them in a moment. I wanted to throw now to Tina and Rob. Tina, if you can, here we go. If you can, share your screen. Here we go. And Rob, hello, how are you?
Hi guys, how are you?
You're live now, and you're going to take us on sort of a 5-minute tour of your Sydney facility in Marrickville. Giorgio's just talked about Brisbane opening up soon, Wollongong opening up next week. If you can take us through for a couple of minutes, just what you have there and give us an idea. I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions coming in after the tour.
So, hi everyone, welcome to our warehouse in Sydney. We're gonna start here with clothes and textile. Both wearable and unwearable, we dispose inside these bags. Unwearable clothes are shredded down into fiber to make new clothes. We also donate wearable clothes to charities. Here we have the polystyrene. We remove all labels, tapes, and stickers because it needs to be clean before we send to our recyclers. It can be used for construction insulation. Behind me, you can see so plastic, but I'm gonna show you a little bit better later there. Our warehouse, we have the drive-through. So our drivers, they can drive in, drive out from the second exit. It's actually, which makes our unloading part easier and safer, which is the most important thing for us. Over here, we have the sorting station where we divide small items such as blister pads, oral care, contact lenses, and different other misfits. Next to it, we have metals. We have different kinds of metals. We have the mixed metals, that can be cast iron, for example. We have the stainless steels, and we have the aluminum. After processing, this material are melted down, and they can be reused for new items. So here we have the guard battery, which we keep all the time close for minimize risks of fire and to keep everyone safe at the warehouse. Once it's full, I can show you some batteries here. Once it's full, we send the batteries to specialized recyclers for materials recovery, sorry. A bit of pressure. Here we have X-rays and blister plugs. The recycling process separate plastic from, let's say, for the blister plugs, aluminum foil, and the X-rays from the plastic film and the silver. After they are separated, they can be recycled. We have vapes, a lot of vapes. So the nicotine liquid is extracted and is treated as a chemical waste stream. Once the nicotine is extracted, we divide, not us, but the recyclers divide the materials like plastic, aluminum or metal, and batteries as well. Here we have takeaway caps and printer cartridges, which are used as additives for asphalts on the roads. Here we have the balers. I'm going to show you the VMAX, which is my favorite. It's the same baler that we have in different warehouses around Australia. I'm gonna give you a quick one. You can feel it much, which is great for us because we are in operation every day, all day. So we pop in the plastic. And we bale the plastic into dense bales, and we can make pallets up to 600, 800 kilos each. The plastic can be converted in oil, and from the oil, they can make new plastic on different items. Here we have different kinds of misfits. We have contact lenses, glasses, oral care, stationery, and so on. I'm gonna show you the e-waste. We collect different kinds of e-waste, all those electronics. You can find router, TV, and different electronics. You won't see any laptops and phones inside here because we keep them separate. And we make sure the data is destroyed before the processing recycling. And pretty much is that. That's what we do every day. Thanks for joining us and for your support. Ciao.
Thank you, Rob. Plenty of questions coming in now from that great tour. Before we got one last item before we throw to the questions from the crowd. I've got 25 unanswered questions at the moment, but we'll get to them in a moment. I'd like to introduce Michael Cron, who's a general partner at Antler. Michael is joining us from San Francisco. Michael, welcome. A couple of questions from me just to go through, and we'll probably be 5 to 10 minutes of questions. Can you, just for those that are online, just explain what Antler does and your initial investment into ReSmart and what attracted you to that investment?
Sure, happy to. Hi, everyone. It's a privilege to be here, and it's a privilege to also be investors with ReSmart, as we have been since right at the beginning. On the point of right at the beginning, Antler is a global full-stack venture capital firm where we invest from inception, as in right at the point of company creation, and we'll continue to support our best-performing companies all the way through to exit. We have the ability to invest tens of millions of dollars into a single company. What we're most known for is investing right at the point of company creation and then helping those companies really scale into venture scale businesses that can produce incredible impact on the world and also incredible returns.
Yeah. I guess the first question is, what did you see in at the start of ReSmart? What did Antler see in their investment committee that warranted an investment that you came about? And when was that? What date was that?
So we invested in ReSmart, as it was called Recycle Smart at the time, about 6.5 years ago now, right at the beginning of the company's journey. So pre-product and pre-launch. 2019. When you're investing that early, what you're fundamentally underwriting is founder quality, is talent. And so what we're looking for at that stage of investing or of company formation is a really clear right to win in the founding team, where they have deep expertise or experience or a unique skill set to be able to tackle the particular problem or business that they need to build, and that there is a opportunity that has the potential to be a venture scale outcome. So a business that can be bigger than $1 billion in enterprise value within 10 years. So fundamentally, it's a founder bet. And I guess what we got really excited about when it comes to the team for this particular business is to start with Giorgio. Giorgio's the kind of founder who could have had a very comfortable career trajectory. He was at Bain, but decided to go and try and build or rebuild essentially a broken system. And to us, that's a really meaningful signal about conviction, obsession, desire, and irrational ambition. Specifically for this business, he's a rare combination of being both an operator and a strategist. So he understands the waste industry deeply from these 15 years experience, right? But he can also design a business with a consultant's eye for kind of economics, leverage point, and operational detail. And that operational detail point is critical because a business like this, if you think about it, every single piece of waste is essentially one problem. So you're trying to solve an atomization of problems here rather than an aggregation of problems. So the operational complexity is quite high, and we see Giorgio's having a unique ability to be able to solve that at the time. And paired with Marco, Marco brings exactly what you need for this, someone who can build a consumer-facing app at a tier 1 company, but has also worked in enterprise, who can build software solutions that are going to stand up the rigors of councils and very large global or / Australian national companies. So that ticked a lot of the boxes around world-class founders, highly complementary team, obvious right to win in the space, tackling a really exciting opportunity. So that's kind of on the team, but to talk a little bit more about the business, I guess the investment thesis for this one is pretty straightforward when you think about it. We all know this problem. We've seen stuff come to our house with an incredible degree of convenience and ease. And essentially the kind of forward logistics has been solved in Australia, right? But what happens when we all have these things in our house at the end is we all feel the pain, especially during COVID, we really saw it viscerally, of where does it go next? It's broken that part of the journey. And so Giorgio had identified a genuine infrastructure gap here, not just a product, not just an idea, core infrastructure. And the team, obviously, we thought could actually go and tackle that. So I think where there's a key point of difference here is the problem isn't discretionary. Like, this isn't like I'd like to have my waste solved. There's some legitimate regulatory tailwinds here, and there's pressure on councils to be able to solve this problem. There's pressure on businesses to be able to solve this problem. And so when you have this kind of tailwind and this need, that means you're likely to get a lot more market pull. So that was kind of how we saw the opportunity at the time we invested 6.5 years ago.
Yeah, really good answer, and thank you for getting into a bit of detail there. Couple more questions from me. Just your thoughts then on the defensibility of ReSmart, and why wouldn't one of the bigger players take it over or replicate this? What's your thoughts on that as an early stage investor?
I guess we see the moat compound in 3 layers. So the first of those is scale. So this, as I mentioned, this is an atomized problem. So you need to get to a certain level of scale before you're able to make the economics and the operational complexity work. So there's a huge cold start problem. And the fact that they've kind of overcome that problem means they've broadly shut the door behind them. Like, you would need years of volume data and route optimization and building up all the elements of the reverse logistics supply and demand points to make it stick. And I just don't see somebody else being able to go and do that. The second one is the nature of their customer relationships and the stickiness. So, it's not easy to win tenders with councils. I'm sure there's some people here who have tried to sell to government before, maybe tried to convince government of anything, or council. It's really hard, and when you do, you sign up 3-year agreements, and they're going to just keep going in perpetuity. Like, council is not going to change those. So there's a lot of stickiness in the nature of their relationships. And then I guess what's surprising is how sticky the actual end customer is, the individual user. They are demonstrating habit-forming behaviors, and we all know that when it comes to our domestic existence, habit forming is very hard to break. We all feel that every day. And then the last kind of layer of the cake is the data. Like, no one in the world has visibility of what happens to Nespresso pods after they're used, all the way to the end point. And then if you scale that up across every single type of waste, like, that is an incredibly powerful data asset that they can leverage, not just for this business, but for a whole range of other use cases and commercial applications, which it would just take a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of cost for someone else to be able to get that asset and to be able to leverage it.
Yeah, that's well explained. And there's a number of questions coming in around data business, and I'll ask Giorgio that in a moment. One last question from me. You invested in 2019 at the early stage. Have you, as Antler, followed on with other raises, and will you be following on in this raise?
So Antler follows on very selectively into companies after we invest initially. Our general view is that we'll only invest in a follow-on in our top-tier companies that go on and hit clear milestones that justify why we should continue to deploy our capital to support their growth. We have supported ReSmart at every stage of their journey, and we're super excited to continue to support them in this round again. So the answer is yes.
Yeah, great to hear. Well, thank you, Michael. Really good insight. I'm going to hand now back to Giorgio and the team. Guys, we've got 40 unanswered questions here, so the crowd's definitely coming in with I'm going to try and categorize them as much as I can and try and get them. And you can, from your side, I know you've got 4 of you there, Marco, Tina, Eugenie, Giorgio, ready to answer them based on your, I guess, subject expertise. Giorgio, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
I know you've been calling a lot of people. We've got, I think, over 1,700 expressions of interest, and you've been calling a lot of people over the last week. What have you heard from people? What are they asking? What's the general feedback from the people you've spoken to? And what type of people do you, in general, are sort of registering for investment here?
Well, I noticed that there's 2 types of people that have been interested in our company. One type is the ones that really want to try to solve the waste issue, which we're all aware of, right? We live in 2026, and the most common way to solve waste is still a hole in the ground. So definitely people keen to change the current status in waste. And the other one are investors with an interest into industrial solutions, into commercial real estate, into waste, into large asset based type of problems, and as well as large, these industries that are a bit boring, if you allow me to say that, right? Like waste is not necessarily as exciting as financial services, for example, but it's definitely a problem that needs to be solved and is a huge one. So these are the two types of investors. In terms of questions, we're getting a lot of questions around what we do with our items, so I might take the opportunity to dig into it. We are a collection and sorting business. So we collect all of these items from a lot of different businesses and people, and we then divide them in up to 75 different streams, which we will then give to someone else for process. So we don't process the waste, we only collect and sort it. That allow us to always choose the most effective solution, because there is constant innovation in the industry, and therefore we can always choose to work whoever is the best player or does the most, does the right thing, and we can, we have an opportunity to work with them.
Okay, a couple of questions, and I won't reveal names of people coming in. I'll just shoot away. A bit of confusion just in around who pays you. If I'm sitting in Sydney and I've got something that I'm living in the council that you have a relationship with, is it the council that pays? Is it free of charge for me as living in my home and you collect it from my home?
We have three different channels. We have B2C, B2G, and B2B. B2C are people pay for the service. B2G is the council pay for it, and B2B is the business pay for it. Let's pick up the B2G one, right? So councils will do two different things with us. 29 councils are working with us in terms of collecting from their own recycling centers. So when you go to a library or when you go to a recycling center, we are the ones providing service in this base. The other thing that the 14 councils now do with us is actually paying for the home collection as well. So basically, if you live in Waverley, you have a free collection service. Now, what the council does is offer a specific type of pickup, which is what we call the medium service, up to 4 bags, which the council will pay a specific price because they have a volume discount, which is different from whatever the users are paying. So if you live in Waverley, you have a free pickup every month up to 4 bags, but you can still book a large pickup with us, a maxi if you want to end up your garage. So it's a freemium service when the council pay, or is a paid service if the council is not paying yet.
Yeah, well explained. Couple of questions coming in around Woolworths, and they're now collecting soft plastics. Is that an impact on your business?
No, as they used to do. When we started, we used Woolworths as a drop-off location where we're very small. We believe there is actually a great initiative. It's actually spared by the SPSA, Soft Plastics Association of Australia, which we work with as well. So we actually are working with SPSA to be the collectors for many of these stores and drop-off points. Woolworths will be one of many retailers with a bin, and we will participate in the collection of these different bins and the sorting. Remember that Woolworths and other stores don't have necessarily a baler inside. We actually work with a bale manufacturer, and we have the most effective baler in Australia for soft plastics today, which is a model called the BT50. It comes from Norway, it's blue, and it works really well. So our bales and the way we bale is very efficient, and therefore we can provide a cheaper service for anyone with a soft plastics issue.
Okay. On Rob's
sorry, one more point. The fact
sure.
that the Woolworths is doing again is a great news for us, because it's creating awareness in the industry, so more people want to recycle soft plastics, which is an amazing news.
Yeah, well, that's another question that's come in terms of residential markets. Maybe this is for you, Janie. How do you create awareness and change habits? Are people then putting their vapes into normal garbage, or they actually care about recycling them and your service and knowing that your service exists?
Yeah, this is a great question. So lately, what we have done is we're collaborating with councils and the areas we're in, so they also can help us to spread the word. We also have this direct communication with our customers through our social media channels. As Giorgio was saying, it could be a pretty dull industry, but we're trying to make it more attractive and engaging through our communications there. And finally, we found out that word of mouth is a very powerful channel with our service, because once people have started using it, they keep on using it and recommending it to their neighbors, their families and friends. And we've also done every now and then, when budget allows, some powerful social media ads too.
And also, Eugenie, live crosses on the Today Show like yesterday morning.
Yes,
do
that's
you want
it.
to talk about your return service, the new return service, and how big that market could be? I think Giorgio talked earlier about the iconic and did things like that, but do you want to delve into that for a moment?
Yes, absolutely. So as Giorgio was mentioning, we're trying to build that extra layer using the infrastructure that we already have in place to tackle a brand new opportunity in the online retail market to address the return issue. As we all know, as a user, it's always a pain to have to return something that you've purchased online because you need to find the extra packaging, you need to go to the post office, etc. So we're going to take the hassle out of that for the customer by allowing them to put their return back into their original satchel or box they received and together with their other items in their bag and put it up for collection. So we're solving a pain point for the user, but we're also solving another big pain point for the actual retailer, a double one. One, we estimate that we're going to be around 50% cheaper for them as a solution to get these items returned to them if they want them back. Or we can also keep them and handle the end of life for those items if they don't want them back because they don't have enough value. We can deal with the packaging, making sure that we reduce the waste. And lastly, we'll turn this very poor experience from a customer perspective of returning an item into a much better one. And from a retailer perspective, it means that this happy customer might come back to you and purchase again.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny. Giorgio, questions here just around new business and councils. You've got 29 councils, and Micah was sort of explained very carefully and I think correctly that it's hard to pitch to government, but you seem to have great success. Is it sort of a domino effect for you that you get one council, the next one seem to follow, and the pressure on them to provide these services? Can you give just an insight? There's a number of questions around sort of that business of B2G. 29 councils doesn't seem like many. Do you see
No,
that
it's a
growing?
lot. It's a lot,
In
mate.
terms of the number of local councils in Australia, it's small, but it's obviously growing.
Absolutely. It's just a lot to win them.
Oh,
So
yes, that's what I'm
when you
talking
are
about. So that
exactly
business to
so
win that, can you give an insight into how long that takes and how potentially many more you may get over the next couple of years?
yeah, so a key thing here, as you say, is the network effect. The more councils you have on board, the more validation you have, the more will join. The first two councils, which I still thank every day, Randwick and Sutherland Shire, were they experienced with us, right? So they took a big bet. Councils are risk adverse, and when you try something new, they really don't know if you're a safe bet or not. So winning the first was really hard, but clearly now it's much easier, and we got much better because now we know how to apply very efficiently to tenders. And we tend to win the tenders we apply to because of when a tender is looking for a solution like ours, we're probably the best in market to provide that. The other good thing is the council usually sits on multi-year contracts, and therefore that allow us to have a stable revenue income that makes our financials appealing.
Question from Richard. The risk of Cleanaway or Veolia copying your model and leveraging their scale to compete with you on cost. Sure, you've had that before.
We work with them. Actually, as I said, I'm at the West conference today, and we're meetings with both Veolia, Cleanaway, and a bunch of other West players. They have no interest in collecting what we take. It's a different type of work. It's manual sorting and it's baling, which that's not what they do. So Cleanaway and Veolia are really good at collecting bins, red and yellow, with trucks, and do that every day. We believe that as another West company already did, they might take an interest in terms of equity in our company, and eventually they could be our exit strategy because what we provide is complementary today.
Okay, talking about exit strategy, a number of questions then. This is your fourth crowdfunding raise. Return on investment. When do investors anticipate an ROI or a liquidity event? Is there dividends? Is it a buyout from the Cleanaways of the world? Is it a trade sale? What is the exit in your mind? And this is for the guys online. We've still got in excess of 200 people. I'm coming to this. It's a crowdfunding campaign. It is illiquid. It's not an IPO. It's not listed on the stock exchange. Just so some people aren't aware of that. What is the time frame? And I know this is hard, but where do you see that ROI for investors going forward? Because liquidity is a big part of it, right?
Absolutely. We can't forecast the future. Sorry, we can forecast the future. We can't predict it. So this might happen or might not. We're definitely working towards it, and we're doing our best. We believe that a liquidity event could happen in the next 3 years. Antler, which Michael Cohn is here, can even step in and tell a bit more about how much every fund wants to see a liquidity event. We believe that our best exit, the two options here. One is buyout from a large West company. The other one is a buyout from a logistic player. So it's either or. And we think that once we have proper penetration in Australia and New Zealand, by the way, which is in the cards for next year, so we are like a large NZ player, we own our niche, then we will represent an attractive target for a large West or logistic player.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Couple of questions then in relation to raising 3 times on crowdfunding with Virtual and then changing platforms to on market. We're happy to be working with you, but just can you explain, I'm happy to help you out, the role of the share registry in Cake Equity? I think there's confusion there that
Absolutely.
if I bought my shares through Virtual, therefore they're stuck with Virtual, then I buy with on markets on a different platform. Can you explain the role then of Cake Equity as your shareholder registry and how that simplifies things for people who invested through Virtual and now investing through on market? Thanks.
Absolutely. Great question, because I got it a few times over the phone as well. So there's 2 different players here. There's us, then there's you guys on market or Virtual, which is a platform that help us raising money, right? So you provide the software and experience and the license, the financial to be able to raise this money. And then there is the share registry. The share registry is where you keep your equity. It's always been the same. It's always been Cake until we're going to sell the company. So if you already have an account on Cake, you will see your shares in there. And if you buy new shares, they will just add to your existing account. That's all it is. Virtual was a great experience. We're very thankful to Virtual for what they did. We did it for 3 years in a row with a great success, always above $1 million. We decided to work with you guys because our feeling was that you offer a different type of, or a different portfolio of potential investors. And it's almost like a portfolio of investors that are a bit more mature in terms of the type of investing they want to do. So we just wanted, since we are a different company than we were 3 years ago, we're much bigger, we're profitable with 4.5 in our recurring revenue. Our financial are a bit more mature and substantial. We thought that it was a great idea to try with a different provider and see how it goes. But as I said before, a great experience with Virtual as well. And if you guys bought shares with us, it's the same registry, and it will be until we eventually sell the business or upload it. Thank you.
Yeah. That's Cake Equity for everyone. You'll receive that information. Giorgio, use of funds. Can you delve into that a little bit more detail, where the amount's going? You are raising up to $2.5 million.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about where that'll go and what that'll be invested in? It is growth capital.
Absolutely. So we're going to do 3 main things with the money. The first one is to build the warehouses and the facilities to get more clients in other states. As I said before, we are turning away clients specifically in South Australia and Perth because our warehouse is too small. So we need to scale the operations over there, and we need to open in more areas. As we said before, New Zealand and large regional centers. Wollongong, Geelong. Wollongong next Monday, Geelong, and so on. Port Macquarie, for example. So first bit is more a collection, so more areas served and better infrastructure. The second piece is implementing AI across the business, sales and ops specifically, to make our operations and our sales process a bit more efficient and scalable without humans, with less FTEs. And the third reason is to grab the opportunity of the return business model, which we've been pitched by a large retailer, and we think it's a great opportunity and an adjacent business for us.
Thank you. Michael raised it earlier in relation to data and the data that you see, because you are at the end of the line and you do see all different types of things coming in, as we saw the tour. We'd love to know more about your data business. When can you sell that? Is it a revenue line? But also data to show that, that material is being recycled effectively rather than stockpiled. Where's it going to? Is it shipped offshore? Is it done in Australia? Can you give some insight into that? Maybe is that Marco? Is that an area for you to talk about, or is that more Giorgio?
Giorgio can comment like on the items if he wants.
I mean, Marco, you can have it. Go for it.
Sure. So like the data platform, which actually we are launching a new version right now, like at the conference. We are really testing this new platform that we've built like in the last couple of months. It's a revamp of of our existing platform that it's meant to deliver value to our customers. So the concept of the data platform is very simple in a sense. It's a chain of custody, it's a traceability platform, right? Where our customers wants to be able to trace as much as possible the journey of their items. It's not something that like in the sustainability world, like end up reaching scope 3, but we are like literally going towards that idea. So providing that missing link from whatever happens when you put like stuff in your bin all the way down gets like given up for ultimate recycling. And there is definitely ideas of, I mean, the platform itself is already generating value. It's not right now like a single standalone sort of entry in the P&L per se, but it's packaged already like in the several products that we sell. For example, from a business point of view, it's one of the determining factors that our clients are buying into right now to use our service, because of course, like, I mean, of course, as we were saying before, regulations as well as like saving, right? Like if you're not going to be able to implement any new either like, I mean, more sustainability oriented activities as well as saving like activities from a company point of view, if you don't have the data that like that to do that. And that's exactly what the data platform wants to do. Please go.
And there's one more point I want to add that I think is going to answer a few questions. We give transparency to our clients. We can tell you when we pick something, when we send it to a processor, and when it gets processed. So there's no stockpiling. We collect, bail, right, and send it to someone else that will process. This someone else is always vetted by some sort of government entity, usually the EPA or the SPSA or some sort of government entity. And we can provide in our dashboard as well when we ship the specific collection of plastics, and eventually we can plug the data from the processor and even tell you when it was processed. So to answer to a few people asking, no, there is no risk of stockpiling in soft plastic because the government is very clear that no one can stockpile anymore. The EPA is inspecting our warehouse on a monthly basis. So what we do is controlled by the government. It's very safe. And we have the best interest in bailing and sending away. All of these providing data to a dashboard that our clients can see.
Okay, we'll answer, guys. Sort of trying to categorize as many questions here. We've got, I think it's 72 questions. We're getting through them as much as we can. On the financial side, just advising on the lengths, a question from Gavin. Are you able to advise on the lengths of existing contracts and that have enabled ReSmart to prepare their revenue and profit forecasts? Obviously acknowledging the plan for growth into new revenue streams such as the return service and building your existing stream. So the council contracts length and sort of retention percentage potentially?
As I said before, 90% of councils are still with us since inception. So 90% retention. And in terms of length, usually is around 3 years, but it really depends council by council, but most of them will be 3 years. And I would say that 70 to 75% of our revenue is recurring. Some sort of recurring, both B2B, B2C, or B2G.
And you were saying in your presentation that really your issue with scale is that there's a massive demand in different councils around Australia to build your infrastructure, yet it's a capital constraint, right?
We need to have bailers. Correct. We need to have bailers and large warehouse to service it, but they will create as well a moat, because once you have the infrastructure, clients are gonna, they find it easy to work with you. So that's kind of a double opportunity there.
Question then in and around investor awards. Can you explain that and what people will get potentially not at the every single tier, but just in general? Is that something for you, Janie, to talk through?
Yeah, sure. So we will be offering investor rewards for this campaign. You can check them out on the on-market page. They're already out there. So you will see that we'll be offering a number of free pickups depending on how much any given investors want to invest in the business. We're also organizing for top-tier investors a special visit of the main warehouse in Marrickville that you just had a glimpse at with Roberto. And we also have a VIP lunch with Marco and Giorgio, so you can ask away any questions. But all the details are on the on-market landing page at the moment.
Thank you, Janie.
One more point, team, on the financials.
Yes.
What we're talking about it, we are break-even now. So we're going to grow profitably, right? And therefore, the downside risk for the investors will be lower than it used to be, because now we're a company that is going concern. So yes, we're gonna grow, but we wanna grow. The reason we're raising money is not to survive, but is to grab the opportunity quicker. Instead of taking more years to do the same thing, we can do shorter and grow quicker. That's why.
So you're 4.5 million annual recurring revenue. And I did a pie chart on sort of where that revenue is coming from, a breakdown between sort of residential, councils, and potentially.
I can divide it in three. So
yeah, thank you.
Almost 45 to 50% is B2G government. Then we
Yes.
have a 30% which is businesses and 20% which is consumer.
Okay. And in terms of growth over the next couple of years, where do you see the largest growth in those three areas?
Council and businesses.
Okay.
The 80% and yeah.
And is that acquisition of new councils or growth within the existing 29?
It's a combination of both. So it's acquisition of new councils, acquisition of new clients, and clients booking more stuff from us, right? So the demand of more stuff from more council. That's what it is.
And where in Australia, you mentioned Geelong, you mentioned Wollongong, Brisbane. Where in Australia is next for you?
Brisbane we already are. So we are in every capital city. We are
Yes.
in every major area. We are still missing a few large regional centers. Port Macquarie, Geelong, Wollongong. There is a list of them. It's like 10 of them. And so we want to open in these areas, and we want to launch in Auckland, where we have already established a PTY Ltd locally, and we think there is a big opportunity as well.
Do you have sort of data into your penetration or awareness within Australian households that know about your service? Is that sort of one of the constraints to using it, that people don't know, but if they did, they'd sort of find it very easy to use?
Our marketing budget is zero, so it's been word of mouth for the last 7 years, which is so if you look at it, yes, definitely. In some councils, we have I think up to 1 to 1.5% of people using the service. But yes, awareness will definitely help. Eugene, if you want to build.
Sorry. Sure, yes. Well, as Giorgio mentioned, our marketing budget has been quite minimal. So that will definitely help with penetration to be able to spend a bit more there. But at the moment, we're developing through word of mouth, a referral program, leveraging councils as much as we can. And yes, we've noticed that whenever we spread the word out there, usually the response from people is really strong. And especially with the latest service that we've been launching, offering a number of solutions that are not just on-demand pickup. We also have the regular plan and have just recently launched bundle of pickups together to offer different financial options for the customers. We're hoping to increase penetration that way too.
Okay. Question from Sophie. Why not Victoria? The councils are much larger than in New South Wales.
We are in Victoria already.
Okay.
We are in Melbourne. We don't have any council paying for the service. We're working on it.
Okay.
But you can book as a user. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Are most people Italian that work at the company?
Too many. I can take a more interesting question about the fact that I'm Italian.
Thank you for that. It's anonymous.
Yeah. Which is around what we do with the items. So as I said before, we don't process items. We give the items to whoever is the best solution at the moment. They keep changing. Most of the stuff is processed in Australia. But and even who processes and what does it do with it keeps evolving with time, and it keeps evolving because the government is putting, as you might be aware of, a lot of pressure in terms of what you can do with each item and how much should be processed. But yes, absolutely, we work
around where things are recycled. What items do you ship offshore to be recycled offshore?
We don't ship anything offshore, but we work with companies based in Australia. We might ship offshore some of the stuff. But most of the items, they're not. So it really depends. It's, as I say, 75 different categories. And most of it is processed in Australia.
Yeah. And what about overseas expansion for the business? Is that sort of on the cards?
I think
Indonesia?
No, I think what we do works well in the first world countries. So if we're ever going to expand, we're going to pitch, we're going to get Antler's help to move to the US. That will be, that's something that Antler does now, which is amazing. But for now, we really want to seize Australia and New Zealand and see what we're going to do next. Either selling the business or maybe scaling overseas. But we are an Australian business for now.
Yeah. A few questions coming in about RedCycle.
Yes, I'm happy to take that one because it's...
Can you talk about RedCycle, what happened, what they do, what they do?
So that's a 3 years old question. 3 years ago, there was a program called Red Cycle that were using movers and calls bins to recycle soft plastics.
RED, Red. Yes.
Yeah,
not
Red
Red,
Cycle.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a well-known brand that was processing soft plastics in Australia. Due to unfortunate reasons, bad management, COVID, a bunch of things, the business collapsed into administration, and movers and calls were left holding, all of this plastic material. It was stocked in warehouses. Now, SPSA was established by the government, which is a government body, to make sure that it will never happen again. And they're actually processing right now all the soft plastics. There's a company called QRenew that does it in Tari. So they're processing all the old stock. And from now on, the government created the structure around what happens to soft plastic to make sure that, that won't be happening again. It was a very unfortunate event, but raised awareness, and therefore now the government is involved, and that,
Sure. Question from Belinda in relation to your drivers. They're gig drivers, right? Not employees.
Yeah, they are contractor, and they're paid per task. So every time they collect something, they get paid for it.
And they're sort of well and fairly compensated for the way you look after them. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Question from Michelle: are you involved at all in preventing the problem in the first place? Do you work with your bigger clients so that they're not part of the problem that you're solving for them?
Yes, that's a really good question, and that's actually something that's really close to us as well. One of the reasons why we're putting together this reporting and we're sharing them live with our customers is also to allow them to see where the waste comes from, which streams are the most important in terms of volume, and how they can potentially reduce them by establishing a few education campaigns, whether it's for councils or for businesses or even for individual customers like you and I. So that is something that we're really trying to work with across all the 3 channels that we work with.
And thank you, Janie. And Giorgio, expansion into other verticals such as maybe the construction industry, or is it all going to be sort of residential, that side of things?
At the moment, we're focusing on. Yeah, at the moment, we're focusing on residential waste and commercial waste, specifically from manufacturer and from offices, right? So that's what we're doing now. I think that's the vertical that we can cover best. Manufacturing is a big problem. There's another question I think is quite interesting. Why profitability related to soft plastics recycling? We don't profit of processing things. We don't touch it. We are a logistics service. We charge for the logistics, either the council, yourself, or a business, and we get paid for it. We don't pay to drop it off most of the time. Therefore, if you look at our profitability, you should look into the cost of the drivers, which represent 45% of our revenue, and then the cost of baling and packing it up. That's it. But we usually don't pay to drop it off. If we do, we make some money somewhere else. So usually it's net zero. So we don't profit by processing soft plastics. That's not our business. We're not a processing business. And we have no intention to do so.
Other verticals might be the medical waste industry.
No, that's hazardous. No, you don't want to touch it. No, I think we're going to touch anything dry that you can't recycle anymore. And if you just cover commercial, meaning offices and manufacturers, it's a very, very large industry. Wow.
Yeah, sure. And just a couple of questions just on financials. This is your evaluation. This is your 4th crowdfunding raise. Can you just run through sort of historically share price or company valuation where you moved from your first raise back in, what was that?
It will be all into the investment offer coming out in the next couple of days. But just to give you a reference, last year we raised at $2.3 per share with around $3 million in revenue. This year we're raising at $2.5 per share, and we're doing 4.5 in revenue. So just to give a comparable in the last 12 months.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're through majority questions. I just wanted to give you, Giorgio, one last sort of chance to say any last comment or anything you want investors to know about the raise. I'll run through some details after your comment and just sort of wrap things up. But just handing to you to maybe give a little summary or anything you want to speak to investors about.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think that there were a lot of very good questions that went through different things within the business. But I want to highlight that we're going to have the investment offer coming out probably in the next couple of days. So please read through that. And my email, my phone number is pretty much everywhere. You should have received a text with my details. So do not hesitate to give me a call if you have more questions. I'm happy to walk you through all the details, and we can go from there.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to your team, Eugenie, Marco, Rob, Tina.
Thank you so much, Tim.
We've got,
people as well
we've still got over 200 people online here. But just in wrapping up, and thank you for your attendance and thank you for your questions, and apologies to some of the questions we didn't get to. Please remember, if you haven't, I'm sure nearly all of you have, but to register your interest in the offer, express your interest via the on-market website. The offer will be open for investment to those that express their interest. So you'll be first in line, and that'll happen next Tuesday, May 19th. So look out for an email. There'll be an email coming to you first thing on Tuesday morning, giving you the link to that investment page. At the moment, you'll be able to see the video and the landing page of all information. There is an investment offer document, which will be live then from next Tuesday. But I wanted to just conclude by saying thank you for your insightful questions, your engagement, and then to the management team well, I was going to say, forgotten Michael Cron, but the management team at ReSmart, as well as Michael from Antler. Thank you for joining, and well done. And we look forward to the investment offers going live next Tuesday.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.